Hey everybody, it is January 13th, 2023, and I just want to do the weekly crypto roundup for the major cryptocurrencies that I do trade. I don't day trade them. I use them as, for the most part, like Bitcoin for a longer term holding, and then sometimes I'll get in and out of Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Litecoin as well. So I want to cover those four. In a previous video I had made a couple days ago, I talked about Bitcoin and how it's in the 5-wave Elliott move, a potential one that you can see right here. So we're still looking at, since the other day, you can see it's popped off here a little bit, and as long as it stays above this yellow line, doesn't go down into it, then the target up here, this black line of 78,815, is still valid for it. So if it does come to fruition to be the 5-wave Elliott move, then it will have, real nice gain moving up here the next couple years before it goes up there and hit it. But just looking at it over here, one thing we were looking at here last week when I was talking about it, it still does have a potential move down for it. If this measured move does go and hit, then that Elliott wave move will be done, because you can see the target down here, 13,980, is below the yellow line, so that would invalidate it. It has created a short, or a scalping short setup for it, which I'm not going to do it, but it did when it hit the 61.8, so exit down here is the 31.8 at 17,400, but so far the 61.8 has not been any resistance. In fact, it's been support for it, as you can see, where when the price closed, came down right there, used that support, and it's been bouncing off today from it over there. So price continues to move up, hits the 88.6. That would move the exit for the scalp trade down to right there, the Fibonacci, or the 61.8% line right there. But we'll have to see if it comes up there and does that. But so far it's popping off, and it hasn't shown any signs of resistance at the 61.8. Going here in the hourly chart, a little bit closer to time frame, we can see that this basically has just been a measured move up. If we look at this using this short setup over here, we see price came over there, did not come down and hit that target for it, and so we are in a potential. No, it is a short setup for it. So what we're looking for is, we'll see if it's past it yet. Yes, it's right on it. So the target for this one is going to be, for this short setup, is going to be, what is that, a little bit north of the 88% line right there. So look, about 18,180 is going to be the target area for where we are looking for retracement to happen for Bitcoin from where it's currently at 19,345. Okay, can't keep going up, of course, but eventually we will have the retracement come back down here to about 18,000, let's just say 18,200 to make it nice and even, to about 18,200. And how that happens is using the red pivot high right here in the 1 hour chart. Using that low, you see price came up, hit the 38% line, and so then for the target area we're looking for that is, we're looking for the measured move to continue downward, but it did not hit its target, which is this orange line right here. It's the 1.146 Fibonacci extension level at 15,960. Came down to right there, it didn't, and now it's just started moving back up. So once it went above the 100% Fibonacci retracement line right there, then what that means is we don't look for the target come down here getting filled at all, but it is, like I said, it is in the scalping trade when we hit the 61.8, not hit the 88.88 line, and then since going the other way, when we're looking for the target come back the other way, there's going up, and then it's the high right there. You can see the 31.8 line. I'll move it up a little bit. See, there's the 38% line right there. It has reached just above the 88.6% Fibonacci level right there. And so when that happens, then the exit moves from the 61.8, and actually what it was is it was the 38% as we kept on moving higher. Once that passes the 61.8, then the exit becomes the 38%. And then once it moves past the 88% level, then we just move the target to just north of the 88% level right here, and that's where we're going to leave it. So I am looking for an eventual pullback, a little bit of a pullback in Bitcoin here on the 1 hour chart, and come back down to at least to around 18,190, 18,200 or so from where it currently is, and then we'll see if that will resume its uptrend, because if we use the Fibonacci level going the other way. That also put it, which would be interesting, right at the 38% line as well, which would signal that we'd be looking for a move up here to at least that target of 19,965. But that just assumes if this high remains the same right up there, right here. If it remains the same right up there. If it keeps on going up, we just keep on drawing it up and looking for it at least for the retracement down the other way. But the main thing right now I'm looking for is for this to come down and get hit, for that to get filled, for this setup to be over. So that is Bitcoin. Still very bullish on Bitcoin for it. It's had a nice little run up this week, but am looking for a little bit of a pullback again to about 18,200 before it starts resuming its trend up again. All right, going into Ethereum, it didn't have a big five-way move, kind of like Bitcoin does, that we're looking for it. But what it does have, using that pivot point right there and this pivot point right here, let me straighten that out. It is in a scalp setup right here. Once it hit the 68% line, so we're looking for the target as of right now to come down here to the 30% line at about 1278.5. So, you know, in the video I did earlier today regarding the futures markets, especially the S&P 500, they're almost every single one of them is completely overbought except for NASDAQ, which is bumping up against the overbought indicator level. And now this is showing on the cryptocurrencies that the cryptocurrencies are also showing that they could also be due for a little bit of a pullback in their market. So I think next week we will have at least a day or two of a good-sized pullbacks of within the markets. And you can see right here in the daily chart, look down here at the MFI indicator, it's just a money flow index. Price is now taken off and is punched through the 80% line right here, which is that black line, showing that it is in overbought territory. So look for a pullback sooner than later here in the market, because as you can see in Ethereum, last time we had it was right around down right here, and nothing, to be honest, nothing really happened for it. We had just a slight very pullback up before it moved back, but also what it did was it created kind of a long-term slingshot effect for it, because you have it being completely oversold down here, and you had a little pop up, but really not a big one at all, and then you had another drop down. So look what happens down here is it's creating higher highs on the MFI, but in the price point is creating lower lows. So as you're well aware, when you have this divergent, where it's price and the indicators, and the only bad things about divergence is they're only able to see it after the move happens, but it does help us predict where we think price is going to go in the future. We have, you know, divergence right there. We have divergence right there where they don't line up. So what I think is going to happen is set it for a slingshot for this thing to really take off, and eventually I'm looking for, you know, that to go get filled. But we have that. We also have another setup that I've seen happen several times before, where you take that right there, you take that right there, and then look what's happening right there. It's creating that trade for when it breaks out of this right here. We're looking for it to pop. We're looking for it to pop off again, and so that would line up with what we're looking for in Bitcoin, and for that big move, that big rally to happen right there. So Ethereum is actually setting up in a different sort of pattern, but we had the divergence with this kind of pennant pattern right here. We're looking for a breakout here going the other way forward as well. That I think that you know, eventually we're going to see a big breakout, a lot of money moving into the cryptocurrencies, but after we get a little bit of sell-off here in the futures markets. Going to Dogecoin, and that was ye old pitchfork. We're not going to look at that anymore. So going here to Dogecoin, we have, it does have a measured move to the downside. It currently is in as well. If we use going to there, it didn't quite hit it right there. Okay, no, we don't have one. Never mind. It has been such a big run up that it hasn't even been hit. So it wouldn't, until it gets hit to about a little over 30 cents over there. We don't have to worry about that. So not gonna worry about that. But using here the daily chart, we can see again it's hitting the overbought indicator as well. Last time it did that, you can see it right here, had that run up, then you had a nice little sell-off. Now it's hitting right over there again, so it lines up with what Ethereum is doing and looking for a little bit of sell-off, at least to down right there. And then Bitcoin isn't quite in there yet, but it does have that in the 1 hour chart, as I mentioned a little bit ago, that we're looking for a sell-off down over here as well. So Dogecoin is not too different as that. Look for a little bit sell-off right there, but it does have a, you see it came down right here, 61.8, create a scalping trade. Never hit the 88%, but good enough for a scalping trade to get complete. Then it also hit the target of the measured move, so we just keep on drawing the Fibonacci retracement level back up. And we can see here it hit the 61.8, didn't hit the 38%, hasn't gone down here quite yet and hit the 88%, so it still is a live valid trade, and what we're looking for right here is the 30% line to go up there and get hit. But if it does hit the 88% line or get a little bit closer to it, we'd say that's good enough for government work. And then the exit would be the 38% line up here, and then if price continues to go lower, we would keep on drawing the 30% line, the 38% line down for it to be the target, but we don't have to worry about that yet. So currently, from this current setup, the move that we're looking for it to go up to is to 0.17439.342, that orange line right there. But as far as the scalping trade setup goes, we are looking for it going up in here to the 30% line up there at about 0.1169886. If this had gotten a little bit closer to it, I would have said, it's good and done, but didn't quite get there yet. So it is a still valid live scalping trade setup. But again, it's coming into being in the overbought territory. So I think we can get a little bit of a sell-off in there, just like look for Ethereum and Bitcoin before we get a rally higher for it. Last but not least, going into Litecoin. This is just this is when I was screwing around with a lot of pitchfork tradings. Never quite figured out. It got to work a little bit as far as the parameters I was looking for it, but there's always a couple trades in there where things just didn't line up and just went completely out of control. But I'll go over it. How it did work when I was looking at it is basically you just either use the red semaphores or yellow semaphores or a combination of red and yellow. And then see here using the red semaphores, when price would break above the median line right there, then the target would be this top line, which I believe was the 0.618 level. 1.5 was the extreme move for it. And as you see, this one actually worked out where it broke above it, had a little bit of retracement. Now it looks like it's close enough to hitting the target for that one to be done. But that is when I was looking at pitchforks. The pitchforks are cool. I like them. I think they're cool. I have to do a lot more work on them, and I think with pitchforks you really need stop losses and stuff like that. But anyways, talking about that some other time. Using Litecoin, it's in the overbought territory as well. So, I mean, everything is lined up for somewhat of a sell-off. Not saying the whole market's going to drop out and everything's coming crashing down. This is a sell-off everyone's been looking for, but there is enough of every single market, basically, except for NASDAQ, is in just about the overbought territory here in the MFI. So, like I said, everything's lining up for a sell-off, but in the cryptocurrencies, I'm still bullish longer term for those as mentioned earlier. But going here with Litecoin, using this pivot high right up here, coming down right over there, we can see we don't have anything to worry about for this measured move until it gets hit over here about 137 before we'd be looking for a move down to, would it be valid? It wouldn't. Yeah, it would be valid. Down here it's about $3. So we'll see if that happens. Seriously doubt that's going to happen, but that's just going that way for the south side. But then going up north, we can have, you'll see, like, look at this. This is pretty much every time. The literally $1 trillion question is, I wish I could figure this out, is when you can tell price is going to turn, because it looks so easy right here. This is why I don't take these trades looking for it to go and get hit up there in this measured move up here, like using the red semaphore. Okay, that's great. Typically the red semaphore probably wouldn't form until like price is around over here. These don't form in real time. They're a lagging indicator, but they just show me the pivot points that I use to trade off of them for the scalping trade. But like say right here, say it was a yellow one at least, because the yellow one forms and then the red one forms, and then I use that, and then like if there's just some way to figure out when one of these Fibonacci levels was going to be the support and just take it to the target right there, you could make so much money. But to be honest, I have no idea how that is. I've looked at these charts for literally thousands of hours, and I've never figured it out right there, when it is. But if there is some way, I don't know if there's some setup, indicator, just something out there, price action with the bars or something like that. If there's some way to figure out where either 38, the 50, 61.8 or the 88.6, would be the turning point. You just leave the target right up there. Man, you could make so much money here in the markets. But that's the hard question, is you never know which one of these levels is going to turn. So I mean, you could, just get in at the 61.8 right there, leave the target right there at the 1.146, and just have your stop loss right there, because that's what 7.77, and that's 1506. So it's almost a 2-to-1 risk reward. But the problem with that is you don't know. It's hard to do. So really, you don't need to be right 50% of the time to make a ton of money for it. Well, it's hard. Believe it or not, it's hard to do that. So anyways, that's just a little bit tangent going off on the side over there. But moving it up here, going up. Here it hits it down here. So then the target we're looking for is right up there. You can see hit it perfectly before it sold off, but we just draw it back up right here. Price at the 61.8. Hit the target right up there again, and then we just draw it up right here, bouncing off the 50, and then going for the next target area, which probably is going to hit since it's been doing the same thing up every time, going up to $91.61 for Litecoin. And there aren't any pivot points going the other way that have missed it. You can see we had this one right here, but here it hit the 61.8 down to the 38, so that one is done right there. So that's all we're looking for in Litecoin, is for it to hit that little target right up there. But it is being overbought here, and this is a daily chart, so it's a little bit different setup than Dogecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. All of them have kind of like their own things going on right now, but based upon the MFI indicator and everything, and the Bitcoin being in a scalping trade set up there on the 1-hour chart, for Ethereum going into the overbought territory, Dogecoin going into the overbought territory, and then also in Bitcoin being in this scalping trade setup right here, going down to 18,200. I'm looking for somewhat a little bit of a sell-off here in the cryptocurrencies market next week. But longer term, extremely bullish on crypto moving up, as long as price stays above this yellow line, which is 14,170. So anyways, have a good weekend and take care.